unless you're really checked out, you probably have felt and even have observed some of the big disruptive consequences of the past week, and especially around the March 3rd lunar eclipse. And just before that, this huge constellation of planets lining up in a row. It's like something major is happening in the heavens. And if you're wondering what that is, that's what we're going to talk about. But more importantly, if you're scared or you're worried, don't be. We're going to lay this all out for you. My name's Sonia Choquette. I'm an intuitive channel and guide. If you're here for the first time, I think your own spirit guides brought you. And if you're coming back, welcome back. We are at a moment in time that people have been talking about for a long time. The new earth, the new moment, the planet's changing. Well, guess what? We are right in the midst of the events and the changes energetically on this planet that will usher in that new frequency. But as we're observing on the surface now, all kinds of hell is breaking loose, which is ushering out an old frequency, and quite honestly, a frequency that the whole world is tiring of. So the most important thing we want to be aware of is that no matter what appears, and don't watch too much of traditional news because it's not accurate. It might give you some information, but it's inflated, it's exaggerated, and it's highly threatening. And that's part of the old vibration that people want to keep you in, the old consciousness of superior authority figures making all our decisions, and we're just pawns in the big picture. And that is the story that's trying to be perpetuated, the paradigm or the belief system that's trying to keep us contained. But actually, your spirit is waking up. Your higher self is taking over. Our intuition is starting to activate. And just ask yourself, are you suddenly just a whole lot more perceptive than you've been in the past? Do you instantly get if something is not grounded, or something doesn't resonate as true, or it just doesn't line up for you? Now, I'm sure that a lot of you can say, I am, but that's not what needs to change. What needs to change is the responses you have to this huge activation and energy shifting that's going on. Because what is really changing and making the new earth is that we are leaving a dense third dimension vibration that leaves us all under the illusion that I'm just an ego in a body and a victim of circumstances. And those circumstances pretty much scare me, and they're very toxic and damaging. The spirit in us is waking up. Our inner senses, your telepathy, your ability to download, your dream state coming online, your ability to read the room, read situations, immediately sense whether something aligns with you or is off. All of these things are quite spontaneously activating because we human beings are evolving. We are reclaiming our true identity as spiritual beings. And you know what? Despite the surface of things and all the fireworks show we see going on around us, the majority of humans are awakening. The majority of humans are opening their hearts. The majority of humans. Now, it doesn't mean all, and certainly on the news, those aren't the ones parading before us on the news, but you're part of maybe a majority if you find your heart opening, your tolerance for drama dropping, your ability to really feel things intuitively heightening, this feeling that there's more than meets the eye. All of this is very much becoming the new human new normal. So can you imagine a planet where we actually are intuitively aligned? We are living in coherence. We are actually heart to heart recognizing other soul to soul instead of reacting and trying to channel and trying to control role to role. This is what's happening on the planet right now. And your spirit guides are really working double time to get through all the resistance and all the conditioning that would have you ignore it. So here's a question that my guides, I channel a beautiful set of guides, Joachim and the emissaries of the third ray, second octave of love. And the question that I have been receiving from them, when I said, how can we best respond to the times in front of us? How can we best ride the fire horse? How can we best meet this year of transformational change in a productive and creative way? And my guide said to ask yourself one question. Who would you be, and what would you choose, and how would you feel if everything that was predictable or everything that you knew to be your security or your identity changed? Now, for a lot of people, that's, oh my God, that's the end of my life. That's the end of my being, but it's not. It's just the end of being a certain way or seeing yourself a certain way. Instead of the end of you, it's actually a new beginning time. Here's what the guides are suggesting. Pay attention to what spontaneous impulses and inspirations rise up. Do you all of a sudden feel like, wow, I want to write a book, or I'd really love to go back. Once upon a time I wanted to paint, and now I feel like I need to paint again. Or I want to change my career. I want to be outside. I want to go and grow flowers and start a farm. I don't want to be an administrator and a secretary or an administrative assistant in an office any longer. These are the kinds of spontaneous, deep callings from your higher self, your soul, are awakening, and they are inviting you to remember a deeper, authentic self. The world is going to dramatically reorganize, and maybe yours already has. Have you had a job suddenly end? Have you had a relationship suddenly end? Have you felt a strong desire to just stop everything? Do you want to move to another country? Do you want to move to another state? Do you want to stop wearing suits? Do you want to start wearing suits? These are the indications that the fire horse energy, the new beginnings, the new versions of you are activating. But most importantly, you want to pay attention to how you respond to your inner guidance. If you fight it, then you are really going to lose opportunity and probably have a bit of a difficult time this year. I want to share with you some stories about how that looks. I have a client it was a lovely life. She has an interior design business. She's married to a man who travels quite a bit. He's gone half the time, but they share the business. They have a comfortable life, physically beautiful. She has teenage daughters, and she has said, intuitively, I have felt for some time, years actually, that my husband isn't being honest with me, and that something is majorly off. When he's here, I don't feel like he's here. When we speak, I don't feel connected. He's absolutely nice. He never gives me any trouble. He's very generous, but it feels disconnected, at maybe even that she wanted to say fake. And I said, well, have you shared that with him? She said, oh no, I don't want to cause drama. Okay. Have you journaled about this? Have you pursued it any further? She said, no. Actually, I try to suppress it. I just feel like I'm looking for trouble. I said, okay. Well, does that feel like you're being honest with yourself? And she was quite surprised, and she said, honest or not honest, I have a nice life and I don't want to mess it up. Well, fast forward, she told me that she just discovered her husband, who has been traveling very frequently to another city, has another woman in that city, a baby with that woman, though not married, and he just recently told her he wants to leave. Now, this is what's interesting. She said, I'm just devastated. I'm just shocked and devastated. And that's when I challenged her. I said, I'm surprised you would say that when you've been telling me for at least 2 years that you have felt this. You have felt something was highly incongruent and you just chose not to pursue it, because this is what happens with a great deal of our intuition. It advises us about things that need to be addressed, confronted, disrupted, and changed to a large degree. It's not just, here's your beautiful set of keys you were looking for and there's the parking spot. Intuition points out what is not congruent. My experience with you and people, I won't say you personally, but with working with people, is if you're not intuitive, that's not accurate. What is accurate is that you are receiving guidance. I very rarely meet anybody who's completely blindsided. What I've experienced is that it's not that you're not intuitive. What I've experienced is you choose to not deal with what your intuition is suggesting, which is confronting something that is incongruent, dealing with something that addressing something that feels dishonest, removing yourself from some dynamic or relationship that isn't supporting the true self, and you just don't want the work. So when I teach my students to begin to activate their intuition, the first thing that I say is, you have to be honest and you have to be courageous, because intuition is your spirit bringing you back into alignment, which is what this period and this eclipse is about. So here's the truth about the new era, is that whatever you're not being honest about, you will actually not be able to ignore or deny this year. It will come up. It will face you. You will be confronted with the incongruencies that are in your life. Your guides are helping you. They're saying, you're not happy. Why hold on to that other than the fact that it's familiar? So this is the big change, is that the realm of the era of denial for comfort is coming to an end. Now, I would love to have you check in with yourself and ask yourself, where is that coming to an end for me? Am I avoiding something because it's uncomfortable? And it gets tricky, because maybe you're not avoiding something, but maybe it's not yet time to make a new set of decisions. Maybe it's you want to wait until you feel more clear. Not come up with a mental plan. Believe me, it's not going to work out that way, but where you feel in your bones aligned energetically. So we are being asked to pay attention at a very high level. If something isn't aligned and it's time to change, then it's really important I've simplified it by saying you have to you kind of have to designate, is this a green light? I got to do this. My guides and my higher self say I have to move across country or out of the country or end a marriage or something. That's a green light. I am clear. I am completely immersed in this thought. Everything in me wants to move in that action. And believe me, a lot of people this year in the fire horse year are going to have that experience. Then there's going to be another fire horse experience, like, stop that, where I can no longer deny that something is all wrong for me, where I can no longer deny that it isn't working. Many years ago, this is a fire horse experience for me. It was quite a few years ago, and how intuition can work in such an interesting way. I was a flight attendant many, many years ago, and as life would have it, I didn't do that job for very long, and then we went on strike, and to me that was a sign from the universe, not for you, was interesting, do something else. So, okay, I certainly let that go, but then I was given a test because I had a client that I'd done intuitive readings with. I had taught in classes for quite a few years. And she said to me, well, I hire for another airline and I'll hire you. I'll give you a job tomorrow. Just come to the airport, come to the hangar where we meet, and then you can sign up and I'll give you a job. So my ego self said, great. because there were a lot of perks at the time about that job that were very appealing to me as a young 25-year-old. I wanted to free travel and see the world in an unusual schedule, but I knew it was not my path. But I agreed. So I'm driving to the airport to go to this appointment, and all of a sudden, I just drove off the ramp and drove home and didn't go. Now, I have shared with many of you over the years that one of my mantras and prayers from the time I was 12 years old, and I say every morning, is move me in the direction of my highest good. Divine Spirit, move me in the direction of my highest good. And it did. I just ricocheted around the corner and drove home. Did not show up to that appointment. Did not go and get that job because it was all wrong. But I didn't plan it consciously. I did it impulsively. At the time I was married, and my husband at the time was really mad at me for doing that because he was also enjoying the benefits of being on free travel and health insurance and all the spontaneity of all. And I just had to stand in that disapproval and saying, sorry, I didn't even plan this. It's just what my spirit did. A week later, I was home. A guy came to my home, didn't know him. I did an intuitive reading for him. Quite honestly, he looked like a homeless man, and his name was Charlie, which I thought was interesting because my teacher's name was Charlie. Well, no big deal. Read for him. He left. Turns out he was a writer, and he wrote about me in a publication in Chicago called the Chicago Reader. It was just like the West Village, Village Voice or whatever, just a local paper, but it got picked up and went international. Different places, different papers around the world. And I went from small work for my just be quiet word of mouth work to international recognition. Had I taken that job, I might not even have been able to meet that guy. That's how this change works. But it was so fast and so unplanned, so out of my conscious mind, that I just needed to share that story with you, that if you're getting an intuition, don't fight it. And here's the biggest piece of information you need this week. Don't need a logical reason to justify it. Just say my spirit moved me in a different direction and I'm going with it. Now that is truly transformational in terms of living a different way this year. But that is the recommendation you are being given by my spirit guides and teachers, Joachim and the emissaries of the third ray, who I've been channeling for many, many years, plus others, plus your own. So this eclipse is asking two questions. What are you doing that really needs to stop? You know it, you feel it, you sense it, you're denying it. The expiration date is way past. Admit it, because it's going to stop. And if you cooperate, it'll be a graceful transition to something better. If you don't, it could be abrupt and disruptive and painful. Secondly, sort of like the woman whose husband moved on, it stopped. It was painful, but only to her ego. I said, you can't really be devastated. Your ego is devastated because you didn't make the choice yourself to align. He did it for you, but your spirit is liberated. Secondly, what are you being called to do? Even into something that you don't know, but you're being invited to see the steps along the way, sort of like a flashlight on a dark road, just showing you just what's next, that you have refused to acknowledge or investigate. If you're getting the intuition to do just the next thing and it's a bit new, investigate. That's what this eclipse and alignment is about. And then if there is a reason to pause knowing that's a conscious choice. It's not denial. It's saying, I know there's change. I'm just not clear yet in what direction, but I'm ready to move. I am ready to respond when it becomes clear. That's what your guides and your inner self, and that's how your inner self and your guides and your angels and your higher self and all of the universe is helping you rise to a higher vibration. If this has helped you, then please leave me a thumbs up, and more importantly, subscribe, because it grows the channel, it grows the opportunity to connect with you, to share this information, to grow our community, and to rise together. This is very exciting times. If you've navigated by your ego alone, it's scary, feels threatening, and more of the wrong things keep happening until they just have to end, but we don't want it to end unpleasantly. Let this be a time where you trust that those inner guided messages, your intuition, is something to listen to, not to ignore. That it's something trying to realign your life back to who you really are, and it's your helper. So thanks for tuning in. I hope you join me. Thanks for coming back if you've been back, and I'll see you next week. All my love.